Hi, and thank you for joining us. This is Issues and Answers. I'm Melissa Summers, and we do welcome your letters as well as your email. And as a matter of fact, grab a pen and paper. My email address is melissa.summers@3abn.org, and our mailing address, because at any point that you have issues and would like answers, well, we have a committee, a Christian committee of counselors that will help you, okay? And I always say that we have issues, but God has all of the answers, okay? And that address, by the way, is P.O. Box 220. You write it down? West Frankfort, Illinois, 62896. And of course, you can send it to my attention in care of Issues and Answers. Now, today's issues, we're dealing with happiness after divorce. It is possible, it is. Our guest is Nancy Van Pelt, best-selling author, has written 28 books on family relationships, which have been translated in about 30 different languages. She's a certified family life educator who has conducted thousands of seminars around the world. And she promised me she'd come back, and here she is. Welcome back, Nancy.
Thank you so much.
Happiness beyond divorce. Dating. Do we start immediately? The paper's just signed.
That is the cardinal no-no.
No?
We do not divorce I do not date for at least 2 years. After the divorce papers are signed,
Okay.
I say.
Wait, hold on. Sound like you said 2 years.
I said 2 years, because that's the minimum amount of time that it takes to begin to pull your life together. You see, you cannot, you will not deal with your own grief and do the rebuilding in your life that needs to be done if you are taking all your energy and diverting it to a new love relationship. So we can only do one thing at a time. And you are not a healed person yet for 2 years. That's the minimum amount of time. And sometimes it takes 4 years or even longer to recuperate.
Okay, Nancy, but what about the person that says, I feel fine, I'm happy, I'm enjoying my new relationship, it's been 3 months since I've been divorced, I'm fine, I'm happy.
That's right. They're in total denial. And what they are doing is finding the new relationship and diverting their energy there rather than taking that same energy to recuperate from what they've just been through. And they are actually asking their new partner to do the healing work in them. I hope their new partner is a nurse or a doctor, because they're going to spend 24 hours a day in nursing care.
I don't understand that, because you're feeling fine.
You think you are fine, but you're averting the issue. And it doesn't matter what expert you ask on that. 2 years is a minimum. Now, I recommend that when you do find a dating partner to begin dating, after you re-enter the dating game, that you go with that person 2 whole years before you get married. 2 years before you get married. So we're really talking about a time frame here of at least 4 years. 2 years at a minimum to recuperate from the after effects of a divorce, plus another 2 years in dating the new person before you would even think about remarriage.
Okay, well, let's delve into the dating thing.
All right.
You've divorced. How do you not bring the baggage, the heavy baggage of the past marriage and failed relationship into this new situation?
I don't think there's much way of avoiding that unless you have done some in-depth counseling. It is a well-trained counselor that will help you begin to unload all that baggage from the past. But there is a lot of self-study that a person can do. There are divorce recovery classes offered many times through churches, through hospitals. But a person can attend classes, read books, go for counseling. These are your main avenues now of laying the past aside and beginning a new life. Find out the issues. What did I contribute to this divorce? You want to find that out before you go into a new relationship. Otherwise, the tendency is to take the same problems from the past that drove you to divorce and put that into a new relationship. You're never dealing with the basic issues. Now, I'm pretty forgiving with people who get married one time. They were young and naive when they married, and so they didn't know what is required in marriage, so they go through a divorce. But by the time you go through a second divorce or a third divorce, you've got to recognize that you have some basic issues that you have not dealt with and that you need to deal with before you put yourself out on the market again.
In dealing with those issues, what are some questions to ask yourself?
I would highly recommend that anytime a person gets to stage 5 of dating, and I can elaborate on these stages of dating if you want to know.
In fact, most definitely. Okay. The 5 stages.
The 5 stages of dating. Stage 1 is friendship. And this is a wonderful way to begin a new relationship after a divorce, is through friendship rather than moving straight into a dating relationship. And friends are almost more important for single people than they are for married people. Friends are always important, but it's through your circle of friends of both sexes that you have a group to move with. But there is no singling out yet. You stay with the group, but in this group, you find somebody that your eyes light up every time you see this person.
Get a little light butterfly.
So then you're ready, yes. Now you're ready to move into stage 2 of dating, which is a casual relationship. It's casual because you will go out together, but you will sometimes still include the group. But you keep romance at a low level. There's no commitment between the two of you, so you are free to date others if you like. And then stage 3 is as the relationship gets a little more serious, and yet there is still no commitment, but you need a dating partner perhaps to go to an office party. And you know who you would go with because this person is becoming more special. You are definitely beginning to question in your mind if this relationship is really something positive for the future. By the time you get to stage 4, it's what we might call a steady relationship. And now for the first time, yes, it sounds kind of childlike, but you see, as a single adult, going steady means a lot more than it does when you were in high school. But this is a wonderful test of a relationship. Does this person have the ability to commit to a long-term relationship? And this is a good time to test your values and your goals and your likes and your dislikes. And a couple that is in stage 4 definitely considers themselves to be in love. All right, level 5 is engaged to be engaged. It is not a formal engagement, but we are now talking about getting married. And this is when I believe this relationship counseling needs to come in, right about at this stage. Now, stage 6 is a formal engagement, and there are 3 things that do make engagement formal, and one is a public announcement to friends, and secondly is a gift has been exchanged, so the gift makes it more formal.
Like
and
a pretty watch.
Right, and the third thing is a wedding date has been set. You are no longer saying someday I'm going to be married. You can now give a date.
Okay, that reminds me, what about these folks that have gone through divorce and they're in a relationship and, oh, we've been dating for 10 years.
Yes, somebody is not able to commit. Dating is a process that we can only hold on to for so long. Relationships either get better or they get worse. And I've talked to people that have been in 11-year dating relationships. Something's wrong here. That relationship is not going anywhere.
Is it a point that whichever party is afraid to commit, that they're just comfortable with the way things are?
They are very comfortable, and very often these relationships are sexual, and a man has everything to gain, and a woman has everything to lose in these relationships. These relationships are all slanted toward the male. Live-in relationships, couples today continue to live together in spite of the fact that there are 7 major studies out there that show that live-in relationships shoot the divorce rate even higher. In America, it's 50% higher. Now, the divorce rate is already at a 50% mark, so if you take it 50% higher, that means a 75% divorce rate for couples who live together. In Sweden, it's 80% higher, and yet couples continue to think that if we try the relationship out beforehand, it will be an asset to us. They completely disregard God's word and think that their method of testing a relationship is better than what God tells us. And this is much more difficult the second time around, because you see, if a person has been married before and re-enters the dating game, where is the stopping point in showing physical affection? They are not used to stopping. As a married person, we don't have to stop somewhere along the line. And yet, as now we are dating again, we're not married to this person, and
we have biblical boundaries.
We have biblical boundaries. I mean, all unmarried people have biblical boundaries, but there are biblical boundaries that must be resurrected as you re-enter the dating scene. And this is the reason I believe that second marriages have a higher divorce rate than first, is because some of the studies that I have read, 95% of all people who marry for the second time do become sexually involved before they marry again.
Wow. There's no, I mean, how do you get around that? Where, I mean, how can I say it? You just got me lost here for words. With this dating process, what is the time frame? Where does it stop? You know, you have folks that have been dating for 10 years, folks that, what is the time frame?
I just mentioned to you the 7 stages of dating, and I like to see a couple take 1 year moving into the commitment stage, or what we would call an exclusive relationship, the steady relationship. Why do I say 1 year? The 1 year is what I call Halloween. So it's what do we do on the first year of any dating relationship is Halloween, because we are...
Well, Halloween is satanic.
Well, it's where what do people do on Halloween? They wear masks, they wear wigs, and they pretend to be somebody they are not. Ooh. And we have to move beyond that point.
To get to who the person really is.
To find out. Now, so the first year of a relationship I call masking. Now, every single person that I have ever talked to said, no, I don't mask. We have an honest relationship. I have told her everything about me. There isn't anything. These are the most honest people this side of heaven, all single people. And yet, we have an awful high failure of marriage for second. So what's the matter here? They're not being as honest. They too need time. They say, well, I'm older now. I've got experience. I'm not like I was when I was dating as a teenager. I've got maturity. I know who I am and what I want. I can cut down on all this kid stuff. No, you cannot cut down on that 2-year rule. The first year of a relationship is all masking. We still are not being our total selves. Then you want to take the second year of a relationship and look at that person and figure out, okay, I see that he is not good with finances, but you know what? I can live with that. We'll work around that. You begin to see the failure points and recognize whether you can live with that. I recognize that he's got an anger problem, but I can live with that.
So this time frame is not necessarily we have to have a time, but that's the natural process.
It's the natural process that it really takes to get to know somebody. Now, I'm never going to throw a time frame out there if I can't back it up with some solid research. And there is some very solid research to show that couples who date 2 years or longer have longer lasting marriages, stronger, healthier, and happier marriages. So I'm not just pulling this number off the top of my head.
All right, what about the children? Dating, you know, the spouse that has children.
Dating is entirely different than it is the first time around when you are young and have not been previously married. So now adult singles frequently are dating with children. And my belief, and from my research and study and personal experience, I believe the children should not become a part of every dating relationship that you have as you re-enter the dating scene. These children have already been subjected to losing a parent, and we do not want to subject them to more instability. The person that you introduce them to should be becoming a permanent part of their lives. So for the first year of that relationship, while you are testing, finding out if this is the person that you are really serious about, the children would be seen with you and your dating partner only in a friendship way.
How detrimental is it to the children or a child with different partners coming in and out of their lives?
It's just
even casually dating.
Yes, it's devastating to children, and children react in different ways. Some will beg for that man to be. Is he going to be my new daddy? Will even ask the man if he's going to be the new daddy. Other children will disapprove. The ones that seem to have the most trouble with this are teenagers between the ages of 12 and 18. These are the kids that are most angry over the divorce, and they really act out. They are also the ones that, however, that can recuperate from the effects of the divorce the most easily, probably because they have their own circle of friends and they can withdraw more. Actually, the children that suffer the most the effects of divorce are children in the 2 to 4 age group.
Really?
Toddlers. And many people are shocked, but I'm basing this on the Judith Wallerstein study. It was a 20-year longitudinal study on how divorce affects children. But you see, the younger the child is, you take one parent away, you've taken half of their support system. And usually they're left with mama, and mama is so emotionally devastated. She did not count on this divorce. She did not want this divorce. She's so emotionally devastated. She's so wrapped up in pulling herself together that the children recognize they've just lost half of their support system, and the children are devastated.
What do you do?
Then the 5 to 8 year age group, they are the ones that will often revert back to their baby behavior and need potty training all over again.
At what age?
5 to 8.
Really?
And the 9 to 12-year-old, they also regress in their behavior, and they become angry. They are the ones also who are most seriously affected spiritually. They are the ones who are old enough now to begin to reason, why couldn't God help my mommy and daddy through this problem?
And that's very sensitive because they could have a resentment.
Yes, and they frequently hold themselves responsible for the divorce. If I had been a better child, if I had been good, my mommy and daddy wouldn't have gotten a divorce. And these children often feel like they are split in two. So divorce is devastatingly horrible on children.
So how do you nurture the child through this? I mean, they need counseling professionally and as a mother.
All children don't. What I really think that parents need to do is not use the children as pawns. Just a few days ago, I was hearing a mother talk about the father in an extremely negative way in front of the children. This is not good. The children do not, that father is still their father and will be blood-bound forever. The mother may not personally like the father anymore, but you do not need to tear that partner down in front of the children. And then there are active listening skills that a parent needs to learn to draw the child out. So a lot of this can be done just within the family, but if you see a child having particularly adverse effects, then they might need counseling outside the family.
But if you would stress to the parents how detrimental emotionally it is to a child to tear down the other spouse.
Yes.
I mean, what are the statistics? I mean, that's just ruining them, isn't it?
It makes it much more difficult. And most couples can work through that first year is pretty intense, where the fighting between the two of them, then they are arguing over custody, and if you don't have that child back at 12 o'clock rather than 12:01, I'm going to take you back into court. and there are charges of incest and all these kinds of things, just trying to get back at the other one. But after the first year or so, most couples cannot keep their intense anger going much longer than that. And so the ideal is to move to what is called co-parenting, so that you are working together for the welfare of the children. The two of you are no longer married. But some couples that I talk to, they made horrible married partners, but they make good friends afterwards, and they are capable of moving through that final stage of, shall we call it, anger or even hatred, and they move to a stage of acceptance, and they can co-parent their children, even though they may each be married to somebody else.
Okay. Now, moving beyond that, as we've gone through our stages of dating and our 2 years, we still have to talk about that.
Right.
But now, remarriage. How do we go about that? It's time. It's been 3 years now.
Yes, all right. It's been 3 years. All right. Slowly moving into marriage. One of the best things that any couple can do, and I recommend this for all, but one of the best things that any couple can do to make sure that they are making a wise choice is to take a simple test. It's called Prepare. And Prepare is prepared in several different formats.
A test.
A test, 125 questions. It will take you about a half an hour, and it can tell you within 86% accuracy whether you will divorce, and with 76% accuracy whether you will have a happy marriage.
You are serious.
I am serious. And there's Prepare MC. The MC means you have been previously married with children and are bringing children into this relationship. There is Prepare CC, which means CC stands for cohabitation. So if you have been living together prior, you take this one. Then there's a new one called MATE, M-A-T-E, and that's if you are over 50 years of age. So they have refined this depending on which direction you're coming from. And this is just fantastic. And I have had some couples refuse to take this. One or the other will refuse to take this test that can predict with so much accuracy.
Because they don't want
something. Okay, this is a red flag. I would not go any further with a person that would refuse to take a simple test.
Why would they refuse to take the test?
I think they're hiding something. There is something that they are afraid that will come out, and that would be a red flag. So, but this is available. Counselors and pastors are trained in reading these tests, and very easy. Now, I have just administered this to one couple that I am working with, and there's 11 areas of life that it measures, and 7 of the 11 are growth areas.
Wow.
Only that means that they are going to have trouble in these 7 out of the 11 areas. Only 4 of these areas are solid.
You mentioned something about 50 and older, remarriage in later years. Let me tell you, at 3ABN is so just beautiful because we have a lot of older or senior citizen couples, and they're just, I mean, these husbands and wives hold hands and walk together and kiss, and
it's a beautiful sight, isn't it?
It is.
To see love last.
It's hope.
There is hope. Actually, 50 to 60 is a good age to marry because most couples have launched their children, they are financially stable, and they still have their health. Great time to marry. So I would highly recommend. The trouble is finding a marriage partner in that age group.
I have to have a senior citizens marriage retreat on. Okay, what about, this is something I want to switch just a little bit, wise words for widows and widowers, you know, as they look to remarry?
Yes. In the case of death, they do not have so much to recover from as in divorce, but again, it's going to be men that will remarry even under a year, 6 months, 8 months, again, shutting the door on the grief rather than working through it.
They're still doing that in older years.
They still are doing that in older years. And again, I recommend that they take their time moving through the 2-year time frame.
So it doesn't matter how old.
It doesn't matter how old. And some people say, I may not have 2 years. I say, better you take 2 years now than marry in haste and regret it the few years that you have left to live.
Well, now, Nancy, that's true, because I know a gentleman that married in his 70s and divorced in his 70s.
That's right.
And that's got to be...
Yes.
So they go through the same...
They need to go through the same process of 2 years, making sure that they really know each other. I, too, talked with a couple. They were both 76. They had been best friends with their with another couple, and both of their spouses died. 76, they married in 3 months. She said, I knew 6 weeks after we had married. They'd known each other almost a lifetime. So they thought, we don't need to get to know each other, but getting to know each other as dating partners is totally different than getting to know each other just as friends. So within 6 weeks after they were married, she said, I knew I'd made a horrible mistake. 3 months later, she's talking with me.
Wow. So the dating process in the senior years, they're the same.
It's the same. But they're fooled because maybe it has been 40, even 50 years since they have had these feelings of being in love and being special, and the icy fingers running up and down their spines, and walking on air and not needing to eat, and the exhilaration of all of this business of falling in love. Still need to take time.
Oh. But there is happiness beyond divorce.
There is happiness beyond divorce.
Regardless of the age.
Yes.
Nancy Van Pelt, this has just been absolutely phenomenal, and I'd reach over there and hug you, but I might pull the mic out. But thank you so much for sharing with us, because you know what? There are a lot of hurting people that are, viewing us right now, and the Lord has really blessed through your ministry, and He'll continue to. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been my privilege.
And we thank you for joining us today's issue and answer. If you have issues, feel free to contact me right here, okay? And until next time, bye.